Good evening, everybody. Tonight we're going to be making salted peanut chews, and although they do sound extremely simple and plain, this is actually the recipe that I've been looking forward to making most this holiday season. This recipe is from the Pillsbury Cook-Off recipe book, and to be honest, the picture looks amazing. I mean, honestly, with peanut butter chips, marshmallows, and peanuts, what's not to love? These are bound to be delicious. So come on, let's get baking. Alright, let's get started. I have my oven right now preheating to 350 degrees, and in our bowl we have 1 stick or half cup butter softened, which pretty much means I've had it on my counter for an hour. To that we are going to add 1 1/2 cup of flour, and I'm using a half cup measurement. Looks like I need to fill up my flour jar. Perfect. And to this we then add excuse me, 2/3 cup of packed brown sugar, and I'm going to use a 1/3 cup measure. And although you can use light or dark, I highly recommend always using dark brown sugar. It adds a richer, deeper flavor, and I think brown sugar just adds a lot to every recipe. That we are going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. And then we're also going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And then we also need 2 egg yolks. So what I'm going to do is I've gotten a bowl out, and I'm just going to separate out the yolk. What you want to do is just transfer the yolk from shell to shell, and just let the egg white drip right off. As you can see, it's just perfect. And I love egg white omelets, so this will be excellent for that. The trick to getting perfectly separated is not to rush the process. Just transfer it a couple times and get all the egg white off, and then go ahead and dump the yolk in there. And now what we're going to do is we are going to beat our mixture on low speed until it is crumbly. So now what we're going to do is we are going to place our crumbly mixture in a non-ungreased 9 by 13 inch pan. And I prefer to use glass baking dishes because I think they have really nice cooking temperature. They seem to always be very even, and I can always count on it to be dishwasher safe as well as freezable and bakeable. So press this as evenly as you can. And once you get it all nice and smooth, if you look at it, we are going to put it in the 350 degree oven for 12 to 15 minutes or until lightly golden brown. What we're going to do now is I'm about to take the base layer out of the oven, but what I've done is I've measured 3 cups of miniature marshmallows so that Now I'm going to pull this out of the oven. And as you can see, it's perfectly done. It's just a very, very light brown. So what we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle evenly the miniature marshmallows over the base layer. And just make sure that you get them in all the corners because you don't want any part of this to not have marshmallow in it. And a good way to tell that this was done is that the edges of the crust are a nice golden brown. Alright, let's give that a little spread. And then as you can see, it's perfectly arranged. And I'm going to pop this back in the oven for 1 to 2 minutes or until the marshmallows start to get puffy. As you can see, our marshmallows have just started to puff. So now we just let this sit and cool on the counter, and let's get started on the top layer. Alright, so while our marshmallow layer is cooling, we're going to get started on the topping. So in a 3-quart saucepan, we are going to mix a 1/4 cup of butter, which is 4 tablespoons, and we're going to put in 2/3 cup of corn syrup, and I'm using light corn syrup. And a great trick for corn syrup is, since it's always so incredibly sticky, if you spray your liquid measuring cup with Pam and then put in the corn syrup, it'll flow out really nicely and you'll get all of it rather than wasting some in there. See? Pretty clean. And then also we are going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And then we are also going to add 1 2/3 cup of peanut butter chips. Now what we're going to do is we are going to heat this over low heat, stirring constantly until the chips are melted and the mixture is smooth. You're going to want to be careful because this will have a tendency to want to scorch because of that corn syrup. In order to be ready when this mixture comes to the right consistency, I have already pre-measured out 2 cups of salted peanuts and 2 cups of Rice Krispies cereal. In fact, I think we are there. It's very smooth, beautiful consistency. As you can see, it's very smooth. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take it off the heat, turn my burner off. I'm going to add the peanuts and Rice Krispies. I'm going to stir it in little by little so that it gets really mixed well. What we're going to do is we are just going to take a spoon, I'm going to scrape this off, and we're just going to drop this by spoonfuls on top of our mixture. What we're going to do is we're just going to take our spoon and spread this mixture on top of the marshmallow layer. And as you can see, some of the marshmallow will come up, and that's okay. Those can be the side pieces that you end up eating, or in this case that I'll end up eating. And that's totally fine. Nothing wrong with that.
As you can see, this spreads really well. And it hardens up well. And what it's going to do is it's going to melt the marshmallows under it all the way. Alright, so as you see, we've got it all spread out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this in the fridge for 45 minutes until it's cool. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it into pieces. Stick those pieces into the refrigerator again for another hour, and then pack them in layers between wax paper and stick them in the freezer so that, you know what, when it's Christmas time, they're ready to come out and be put on a cookie tray.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our time together, and thank you so much for joining me in my kitchen. I hope you enjoy your salted peanut chews and that it makes a wonderful addition to all of your family gatherings. In advance, Merry Christmas!